Erin, how are
Hi,
you today?
I'm good. How are you? Of
I'm doing excellent. Welcome to the Potter Buchanan show. I appreciate you jumping on.
course, excited to be here. Thanks for having
Yeah.
me.
So I wanted to have you on. Obviously, we work together at Oracle, RVP of sales. But I always just liked how you worked. You were always very receptive, responsive, like bought into what we're doing, and just like brought a lot of energy to the role and to like our interactions. The ethos of this podcast, right? It was to talk to interesting people doing cool things in their given field, and you came to mind as one of those people. But I'm curious, like on the come up, right? I don't know if you need to tell the whole tale, but you can kind of parse it out how you want. But like getting into tech and like out of school, like how did you, what's the journey to get to where you are today? Obviously, RVP
Yeah.
at Oracle.
Yeah, very unconventional background. I started out, I always say I started my career as a child because I did
Yeah.
competitive dance like ballet, modern, contemporary, and so I was never ever supposed to get into tech and do sales. I was supposed to make it as a dancer, go to Juilliard, do the New York thing. And I hit 18 and I had like a little bit of a crisis. And I was like, I don't want to be a starving artist. I don't want to do this. And
Yeah.
so I think I broke my parents' heart at the time, but I just went like full force into retail sales. So my first real job was at Nordstrom as a shop girl. And that's when I really discovered like I am good at sales. I really love sales. And from that experience, I just continued to every role I would get into, whether it was like, the fashion industry or the wine industry or the spa industry, I was always excelling at sales, whether it was products or services. And then I eventually met some folks that were at a local startup in Seattle, and they encouraged me to go for an inside sales role. And I was like, I don't know if I'll be any good at that. And I really loved it. I loved inside sales. I
Yeah.
just kind of almost got high off of the thrill of talking to someone and being able to, in a limited window of time, convince them, right? That what I was selling was valuable to them, right? And building relationships over the phone is obviously, as you know, much harder than it is in person. And so I really thrived in that role. I ended up getting recruited to Amazon a couple times, turned it down a couple times, and then finally my boss at the time and she was actually the COO of this company. She said, like, you need to do it. You need to just like jump off the ledge, take that step, go to
Yeah.
Amazon, that experience. So really like not going to college and having like a conventional background, AWS for me was my education. I learned everything about technology there. I was super fortunate to have amazing solution architects and leaders that really believed in me and spent time with me doing like computer science 101, right? And so yeah, I think it's a really interesting background, but I from there just kind of fell in love with the cloud, ended up, taking that experience, got into enterprise sales, and I guess the rest is history. So yeah, I'll
Yeah.
pause. That was a lot.
No, it is a lot, but that's because I was looking through your LinkedIn and we'd never discussed it before. I was like, where's the
Yeah.
college? There's no
Yeah, no.
college.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. People are always baffled. They go
No, it is. It's impressive.
like
Yeah.
just went yeah, straight into working, but yeah, no regrets. I think it's something I've come to be very proud of. I think for a while I would, feel like there were certain roles I couldn't apply for because I did not have the degree. But now I know, experience is so valuable and that really has been, I guess, my kind of shining star.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I went to college for business, like marketing, right?
Yeah.
And there's no discussion of sales,
Yeah.
but sales is the engine that drives everything. So it should always be together with like and then like you graduate, you don't really know what you're going to do, but you don't like marketing. If it's doing its job, is serving sales at the end of the
Yeah.
day. And that connection was never even really made. So there's no better experience than just getting out there and selling. And it's
I think so
I don't
too.
wanna s I don't wanna say it's a you have it or you don't thing, but it is like, if you don't have the fear and you're willing to put yourself out there, that's almost more important than any education or any knowledge that you have.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, and everyone is unique and has their own experience with that and what they choose. But yeah, for me, I don't look back and think like I should have. I'm really proud of where it led me, and yeah, it's a great experience.
Do you ever get people talk about this a lot, like imposter syndrome, like, shit, I'm an RVP of sales at Oracle and like I didn't go to college, or is that just not even cross your mind?
I think I used to, especially when I was at Amazon.
Yeah,
Again, I was an individual contributor then. Like that was really like where I was starting my tech career. But I remember my boss at the time, his name's Mark. He was amazing. He actually pushed our whole team to go through the AWS Solution Architect exam. And I remember being really like pissed about that. I was like, we're salespeople, like, why do we have to do this?
yeah,
But he was an architect at Dell before he came to Amazon, and he kept saying the best salespeople push themselves technically, right? And at
yeah,
Amazon, right, you look at the people that get promoted, and they are pushing themselves technically. They can hold conversations on their own without their solutions architect, and so it was important to him. And candidly, it took me 3 times before I passed the thing. It was so fucking hard.
yeah.
Sorry for the F-bomb,
Oh,
but
of course, it's
it was
fine.
a really hard test, but I came out of that going, "Wow, like, I cannot believe I did that," and I'm great that I was able to go through that. But, yeah, there were times kind of leading up to that where I'd have conversations with him and go like, "I didn't go to school for computer science. I didn't go to
Yeah,
college at all." And I remember him telling me like, "Erin, I would much rather have a B student than an A student. Like, you're having to work so much harder, and it's not maybe coming naturally, but that to me is way more important." And so that kinda stuck with me, and I think ever since Amazon, thinking about my background not being conventional has not made me feel like I have imposter syndrome. Like, I feel like I've kind of come over that hurdle.
yeah. Well, yeah, you've paid your dues at this point. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
curious. That makes more
yeah,
sense along the journey, like early on. That's kinda when you felt
definitely.
it.
Yeah,
So that kind of brings me into like mentoring. I think that was a big thing that I admired about you. I mean, we like kind of just met, just just got pushed into healthcare. I mean, they're always changing the different verticals and
right.
places where the SDRs represent. So I was an SDR manager, right? So this is just for the audience, right? If they don't know, we're generating leads for the field team. You ran the field team.
Right.
And from day one, like, you would meet with my reps individually and, like, even, like, on their own, try to help them get promoted and kinda go out of your way when you saw something in someone to help them out. Like, does that come from kinda the way you came up and the mentors you had, or what made you put so much into
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. I always say my net worth is my network. I believe that, if you have the work ethic, you put in the hours, right, and you build these relationships with people, you will find yourself working with them in the future, right? They will
Yeah,
always remember you. And I think that the other thing with inside sales is it's just hands down the hardest job in sales, right? Picking up the phone, cold calling, I mean, it's extremely hard, you get yelled at, right? It's one of those things where you're learning a lot about technology, but you're also having to deal with, potentially, like, upset customers because you caught them at a bad
yeah,
time. And so I think I really appreciate how hard that job is, and how, if you have the right mentors and you have the right people supporting you in that role, you really can have advocates and champions who help you get to that next field role. And really it's, do your time on that team, have success, have people championing for you, and then, go land your first field role. And then the sky's the limit from there. But you know how hard it is just to get off of that team and into your first field role. And so I remember my own experience with that. I know how hard it is. And I just think that I love working with inside sellers, and I love championing them. I think it's just something I'm very passionate about.
yeah, and I always really admired that and
Thank you.
the lengths you were willing to go with them. I didn't really prep you on this one, and this is a general one, but, like, it's hard to fully scope this, but AI, like, how do you that it could be like a 4-hour show on that, but I'm curious how you do like, what do you use in your day-to-day to help you? And every rumor is every white collar job is gonna go away and people are going to get fired and AI is gonna take over. Like, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I definitely don't believe, AI is gonna replace all the jobs and people are gonna be out of work. I mean, I think that there are some really amazing things that AI is doing, especially in the vertical that my team supports, which is healthcare. We
Yeah,
think about how AI can not only automate tasks for the staff and the clinicians, but can help them be able to focus more on their patients, right? And ultimately save more patients' lives. So I think that there's a lot of good with AI. In terms of how I use it, how my team uses it, we obviously have a lot of internal tools at Oracle. I mean, AI has been built into every layer of the stack, as you know.
Yeah.
So we use a lot of tools, and I think the way that I see it internally is we do a lot of prep work with AI, right? So we'll pull 10Ks and summarize, and how does a company's 10K relate to maybe some of the products that we have that could add value to them, right? Based on their unique situation. I also think about just prep in terms of understanding a customer and what their, biggest pain points might be ahead of time. I also think of notes when you're on a call, right? So I look at even all of our internal calls right now. We get a summary of, the meeting recap and action items for each person that was on that call. And it's just really helpful, right? Because you think of the world kind of before we were using AI, and a lot of these were manual things. Like we're just typing notes all day, right? And so I think a lot of it, I think in terms of prep is very helpful. And then I think the sky is the limit in terms of what you can do in specific industries. I think agentic AI is amazing. And we're just I feel like we're just getting into it. And it's every day I look and I'm going, I can't believe we've evolved. And it's only been 24 hours and there's
I
some new
know.
thing that we're doing. So it's sometimes overwhelming, but I guess from my perspective, I really love to hear direct feedback from customers or on how they're thinking about AI, what their goals are, and again, it's I think we're kind of living in this world where we're kind of building the plane as we're flying it. So again, it's evolving and changing every day based on new information that we have on hand.
Yeah. Yeah, the healthcare app, the way you can apply it there is really cool. I mean, like, they can diagnose things faster, where you can kinda upload, like, an X-ray
Yeah.
or, like, an MRI and, like, get information that you could never get previously, like, that stuff's really cool.
It's really cool. Yeah, it's amazing. I think, yeah, just looking at some of those things that before were so manual, and they really don't have to be, right?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
100%. Um, I wanna talk about, like, being a woman in tech and then sales in general.
Yeah.
You were named top 50 leaders in Seattle,
In
but so that's
Washington. Yes.
Washington. That's like Chicago, or I call Illinois
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
literally can't separate the 2. Congrats to
Okay.
your Seahawks, by the way. I got my
Thank
Go
you. It's
Pats
a
gear
good
here.
season. We're really proud of them. That was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great. I really enjoyed watching that. That was incredible.
It
Just
was.
kidding. I'm a Pats fan. That was terrible. It was an absolutely
There was,
brutal
the
experience.
rivalry at Oracle too, because definitely we have a lot
Yeah.
of on our team that are from Boston. So yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. So just like give me that experience. Um, I guess that's a broad question too, but have you noticed like it's kind of I suppose like the workplace is way more modern now, right? Like we're kind of grew up in an age where if you're in an office, there's women, there's men. But have you noticed like anything different in like terms of like getting respect or commanding a room that you need to do as a woman? Or do you think the playing field's kind of even now with the way kind of modern like the tech world or office life works?
Yeah, it's a great question. When I started my career, especially at Amazon, I felt like my team at least, maybe there were 10% women, 90% men. So
Yeah.
that has shifted a lot, right? I see many more women now in this industry, in this field, which is really exciting. I never personally experienced anything negative in terms of being able to command a room or be on the same playing field as my male counterparts. So I think I've been very, very lucky in my career to just work with incredible men. Yeah, I had 2 different leaders at Amazon that were just big champions that were always trying to help me get promoted, get to that next role. And I think I was also lucky because I was able to get onto the field pretty quickly at AWS to get that experience with field sales, and not everyone gets to get into the field that quickly after getting off of an inside team. So I would say being a woman in this industry has been fun. I actually think maybe sometimes we have an advantage because we are so few compared to there's so many
Yeah.
men, right? And so I don't take that for granted. I feel quite lucky actually. And again, like I said, I've been very lucky in my career, AWS, VMware, Instacart Business, now Oracle, to work with amazing men, but also amazing women. I think that there are just some phenomenal women in technology. And I think what's interesting is, you go back 10 years ago, and I think you'd see women in sales, but you would not really see as many women in engineering. And I think that has
Yeah.
also shifted. And so it's really exciting now, even when we go visit customers on site, to see a lot of women in development and in product. And that just, I feel like, is really exciting to kind of see that shift.
Yeah. Yeah, I worked with some great engineers, women engineers when I was, selling at Oracle. Yeah, no, it's great, and I think it's the old school where it's, like, kinda how it used to be back in the day. I think it's progressed a lot, and I think it's at a good place. As far as I wanted to dive into, like, some personal stuff. So I saw this post, and I was very interested when you mentioned your husband, 10 years ago chose to, like, work from home and
Yeah,
kinda support the family, and that kinda dovetails, like, the women in business there and the
yeah,
men taking I mean,
yeah,
the gender roles and everything, like, the traditional, that's sort of a thing of the past as well, but with, like, a guy, there's still always, like, ego, right? Like, the old, "You should be the provider," that type of
yeah,
thing. So,
yeah,
like, how was that for him? Like, what was he doing before, and able to take that? And I'm curious about the Michelin meals as well, like, what's he
yeah,
chef.
yeah, of course. So, yeah, I think we have a very, very unconventional life compared to other folks, and not right or wrong. Everyone has their own path. But yeah, so I started when I started breaking into tech at AWS, I was starting to be on the road more. And we were just realizing, we only had 2 kids at the time, we now have 3, but even then we were going, "Okay, I'm gonna continue to progress my career." I was really having a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed traveling and visiting customers. And then, I got pregnant with our 3rd child when I was at Amazon, and as I was looking at, returning to work, my husband and I were just talking about, how is this gonna work? 3 kids,
Yeah.
and he was at the time, he had, his dad had a home construction business, so they were partners doing that, and I think we were lucky he had flexible hours, so he still was always able to do kind of like the pickup drop off,
Yeah.
and kind of be there in hours that I wasn't. But it was hard, right? It was kinda juggling and figuring out, like, where people are gonna be, and it was a lot for him. And so, as he started asking me, like, my goals for the future, I said, "I really, really wanna pursue a career in sales long term, and I'm very passionate about it." And he said, like, he really would enjoy being home with the kids, and that's
Yeah.
something that, he would love, in fact. And so I think we were really lucky that we both knew exactly what we wanted to do. The other thing is we had a family business at the time too. So we had a sock company, and so we
Yeah, I
were
saw the
like
stocks.
the snowboard ski industry, and we were on Amazon, and we were in many, many retail shops in Seattle. And so I think that, he was also getting to spend more time doing that as well, so it was fulfilling for him. But yeah, I mean, there's no easy button, right? When you have jobs, or one person has a job, but you have kids, right? It's really hard. And then the person that is at home, right, they deal with the brunt of raising kids, right? I'm on the field, or in the field every week, and so being on the road as much as I am, it is really hard, to be that stay-at-home parent and be kind of doing the bulk of the raising, and all of that. And so I always tell people, his job is 100 times harder than mine because it never stops, right? So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know. I have a 3 and a 1-year-old. I know, and sometimes, and it's been great. When I got laid off, like, there was, like, an upside to that, right? Like, every day my wife pulls up and I'm here, and I
Yeah.
just get the kids, and she's pregnant right now,
Oh my gosh,
so it's
congrats.
kinda like, "Thank you," and it's like, "Go sit down." Like,
Yeah.
I'll take these too.
Yeah.
Uh, and they're 3 and 1. One's gonna be 2, and St. Patty's Day is a St. Patty's Day. They're
Amazing.
about to be 4. So, I mean, they're insane, right? They're 2 boys. They're
Yeah,
fighting, doing stuff. So, happy to be employed again, but it was kind of like a blessing in the time that I was able to be there
absolutely.
and help out with them. But yeah, the day is exhausting. It's funny when you get left with, like, any day where my wife had to go, and it's rare that it happens where she's gone, and you just look at the 2 like, "What are we gonna do for 8 hours here, boys?"
I know, it's a lot. I know. I definitely I have such respect for people that stay home because it is so hard, and not having interactions with other adults and just speaking to kids all day is
Yeah,
also you go a little nuts, so
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Tell me about the meals. What is he chefing up?
Yeah, so my husband has just always been gifted with cooking. I think he started cooking as a kid in the kitchen with his mom, but he actually loves a lot of Japanese and Korean food, and so he will go to a restaurant, he'll get really inspired, and he's one of those people that can taste it before he makes it. He understands how the ingredients are going to react together, and so it's amazing, like, I just feel like we're very lucky. He's amazing in the kitchen, and we never have a bad meal with him. Like, in the 20 years we've been married, I've never had a bad meal with him.
That's
Maybe when
incredible.
we went out to a restaurant, we've had bad meals, but I have not had a bad meal from him at home.
Well, maybe that's something I mean, should get a food truck or something.
Yeah, I know. I know everyone always says he needs to start a restaurant or a food truck or a blog or something, right? Because he's definitely got the gift.
Yeah, and that's huge too, like, doing construction, like, he can fix anything in the house. That's a area I'm
100%.
seriously lacking, so,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if you can fix the entire house and take care of the kids, I mean
I know, like Mr. Perfect. Yeah, he, has remodeled our entire house. I have always loved very old homes. We bought, like, a home from the 1960s that needed, walls torn down, new kitchen, new bathrooms, all of that, and he has remodeled all of it pretty much by himself, so that has been amazing to watch as well. He's very gifted with that.
so you did good then, you're saying?
I did very good, yes.
Yeah, big W there. So what happened with the socks? I saw
Yeah,
no longer running anymore, but that's pretty
yeah.
cool that you ran that. It was like 7 years?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing it. I think for us, it is really hard to run a business and to, constantly be, having to go to these different retail stores, make sure they're
Yeah.
stocked, handle Amazon, right? Having inventory on Amazon.com is like a full-time job. And so I think for us, we got to a point where we were like, it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work. And my schedule was just getting more and more crazy to where I was on the road all the time, and I wasn't really able to be that person that was selling, and he really did a lot of the photography, a lot of the content on social media, and so, yeah, we just decided, "Hey, like, I think it's time for a change." It was a fun run. We learned so much. I always encourage people to start their own business and be an entrepreneur at some point in their life because you learn so much about business, and it's incredible, but I think for us, yeah, it was just time for a new chapter.
Yeah. So what's next for you? Where are you on the road to? I know you're always road
I'm
trip.
actually on the road right now, so I'm in LA right now.
Okay,
I am in Vegas next week for the HIMSS conference, which is a big
nice.
conference, and then, yeah, there's just a lot of travel over the next month, between, internal QBRs and customer visits. It's kind of taken me all across the country, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah. And, what do you do in LA? You getting up to
Yeah.
anything outside of the conferences
It's a
or
great
outside of
question.
the
So,
meeting?
everyone that knows me at work knows I'm a big Disney freak, so,
You're
you know,
one of those?
I'm one of those. I have a lot of fun. I have an annual pass, and so anytime I'm here, customers will be like, "Erin, are you going to Disney?" Because everyone here has an annual pass too. So we'll go like, my do a customer on-site and then the evening, go to Disney, get some rides in, go have food there. It's a lot of fun. So definitely do that. And then there's so many amazing restaurants in this area too. So,
Yeah.
between like Malibu, Manhattan Beach, Santa Monica, you name it, right? There's just amazing food in this area. So, no shortage of fun things to do, after work.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me a Disney, rundown here. Give me a top
Yeah.
3
Top
Disney
3
movies.
rides
Oh,
or
no, give me top 3 Disney movies all time.
top 3 Disney movies of all time. I think that's so subjective. For
Yeah, but it's
me,
your list, not mine.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think for me as a kid, it was Sleeping Beauty, Beauty and the Beast, and Lion King.
Okay. I was gonna say, Lion King's gotta be top 3.
It's so good, yeah. I feel like and that movie is one that I remember I was a kid, saw that one in the theater. That was
Yeah, me
awesome.
too.
What about
Yeah.
you?
I actually I don't Disney, I mean, Lion King's definitely number 1. I'm just, like, focused on Pixar now just because that's
Pixar's
what we've been
awesome.
watching.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a big just Trolls Pixar as well. Have you done Trolls with your kids are a little older, right?
So, is that at Universal or where is
That's probably Universal, but
Yeah,
Trolls is
that's
excellent, and
amazing.
that's
It's an amazing movie. I love those movies. They're great.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the soundtrack, if you look at my Spotify Wrapped, it's literally just the Trolls soundtrack
That's
over and
funny.
over and over. I'm trying to think, yeah, though, Disney, I think of anything outside of Lion King. Of course, I pose the question to you, and then I don't have anything, but we do Winnie the Pooh a lot as well.
Yeah.
I'm a
Oh,
huge Pooh guy.
definitely. I feel like, yeah, growing up, it was like that was such a sweet show. I feel like, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, they're funny and I just like Pooh as a character.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
really not he's just, like, kinda going along with life, or also top character of all
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
but yeah, that I appreciate you, jumping on,
Sure.
and kinda running down life and, talking career.
Yeah. Super fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for having
So
me.
everybody, like, subscribe, and, we'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin.
Thanks.